Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Deanne Scanlon Show, presented by Option 1 Credit Union. I'm DJ Foster, joined by Grand Valley State head volleyball coach Deanne Scanlon. Coach, thanks for joining us.
No problem, DJ.
Well, since we last talked, you had 3 conference matches last week. 2-1 in those 3 matches. You won both home matches at the end of last week. But let's start with last Wednesday, 1 week ago from today. You went to Ferris State. Obviously, they're a big rival, and you're on their home court. But you fell 3-0. Probably still weren't pleased with that, despite, like I said, being on their home court and being a rivalry.
Yeah, you're never pleased losing to Ferris, number one. But I think it was the manner in which we lost that we were, most upset about. I didn't feel we had much fight back, much kickback, and for our young kids to go up there, you can talk about that environment and what it's like, but until you actually play in it and experience it, it's a different situation. But we knew it was going to be a tough week, having to go to the UP the weekend before, and then throwing that midweek match in there. But we got to come out and like I said, just be a little bit more competitive in that situation, and I think the outcome may have been a little bit different.
Now, you come home after the Ferris match, and you got to play your first home match of the season here in the Fieldhouse,
right,
about a month into the season.
Exactly.
But it must be nice to get home. You beat Lake State on Friday night 3-0. Obviously, they were a little outmatched. You're clearly a better team, but you did what you were supposed to do, and you won 3-0.
Right. We changed our lineup a little bit so we could get some options with some substitutions. Basically went with a 5-1 setter system and allowed us to be able to sub a little bit more freely. But yeah, I thought that we took care of what we needed to do. We passed really well, which we expected being on our home court, to be able to pass probably a little bit better than when you're on the road. I thought the environment was great, the crowd was great, the pep band, just everything, the whole energy was good, and I think our kids kind of fed off of that.
Now, after you beat Lake Superior State on Friday, you had Northwood on Saturday. You dropped the first set, a competitive set, but you still dropped that one. But then you came out firing the next 3. You hit 336 for the match. You were very offensive the final 3 sets, and you got the 4-set victory.
Yeah, we need to be a little bit better coming out of the gate. We did let that first one slip away, but the positive thing is I did like the way the kids responded. We came back and pretty much, like I said, we were rolling games 2, 3, and 4. It didn't really matter who we put out on the floor. They were producing, and those are all good signs that things are starting, to come together. And with a young team that sometimes they don't understand, again, how good the conference is, and that you just really can't sit back on a lead. There's no lead good enough until you get to 25 and you're switching sides, and then you can take a little bit of a break.
Now, in all 4 sets of that match against Northwood, you had either 4 or 5 freshmen and or sophomores starting for you. That's a little bit of a change. You're not used to having that many youngsters play, but talk about the youth and how they've played for you so far.
Yeah, they bring a lot of physical talent to the floor, but I think they bring a lot of volleyball knowledge for being as young as they are, a lot of energy to the floor, and they're very versatile. We can do a lot of different things with them. So, again, young is young. We're still gonna have to mature, but it is good to see that we can execute and play well with that amount of youth on the floor. But what it is going to take is the few upperclassmen who are playing. Nicole Whitten, Umo, Olivia Kohler, they have got to make sure that they're stable and that their level of performance doesn't drop. Because at any time when you're young, you can be up here, but then in a millisecond you can be, dropping off the table. So the upperclassmen have to stay consistent to allow those younger players to make some mistakes.
3 matches last week. You have 3 more this week, and it's another big weekend for you.
Right.
But you're here. You're in Allendale for all 3 matches. For the fans, you have Wayne State on Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Findlay on Saturday at 4, and then Hillsdale on Sunday at 2. Obviously, if you look at it from the outside, Hillsdale looks to be the biggest of those 3 matches, as they're one of the top teams in the conference region, et cetera. But talk about having 3 big home matches on your home court this weekend.
Yeah, we want it to be kind of a building weekend, not to overlook Wayne State or Findlay. I mean, Wayne State pretty much returns all of their players from last year, but we want to progressively get better through the weekend and build up to, playing our best volleyball on Sunday. Hillsdale's, coming in. I think they have 1 loss on the season, probably the top team in the region right now. Returned a ton of starters from their team they had last year, and they're hungry. They know they're senior loaded. This is their year, to kind of, push through the regionals and maybe make it into that Elite Eight. But we hope to have a lot to say about that. And they have not played on our home court here in 3 years,
Right.
the way the conference schedule has been. So
Right.
I'm anxious to get them here. Hope we have a great crowd. Where that Sunday match is on television. It's on Comcast. It's also our alumni day. We have an alumni match in the morning at 10. So hopefully, like I said, we'll get 3 at home this weekend.
Well, we'll be here for those, and we'll look forward to seeing what your team can do this weekend.
Great,
Thanks
thank you.
for joining us. And thank you for watching the Deanne Scanlon Show here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. For Deanne Scanlon, I'm DJ Foster.